I still remember the day of my son Daniel's graduation as if it were yesterday. For months, my wife Claire had been talking about how important this day would be for our son, for our family, and for us as parents. We had prepared everything. The decorations, the catering, the invitations. Claire, as usual, had taken control of the entire planning process, and I let her, believing it was her way of expressing love for our son. Daniel was the pride of my life. Watching him grow into a hard-working, intelligent young man filled me with joy and pride. He was the glue that kept us all together, and despite the ups and downs in my marriage, I always believed that on milestones like these, families should stand united. But that day turned into a nightmare, one I could have never predicted. The graduation day venue was filled with laughter, applause, and cheerful faces. Daniel looked so sharp in his graduation gown, his eyes shining with accomplishment. Guests filled the hall. Family, friends, colleagues, and some people Claire had insisted on inviting. I noticed Claire seemed particularly excited that day, buzzing around, checking on the food, making sure the decorations looked perfect. She looked beautiful, radiant even, but something about her felt different. There was a glow, but not the kind I had seen when she was proud of our family. It was something else. After the ceremony, we all gathered for the celebration. Speeches were made by professors, classmates, and proud parents. Then came the moment when guests were invited to raise a glass to Daniel. I had prepared a heartfelt toast, rehearsed it in my head over and over. But before I could stand, another man, a tall, confident, smug-looking man, stepped forward. His name was Alex. He was introduced as an old family friend by Claire weeks earlier, but I barely knew him. I assumed he was just another distant acquaintance. That assumption would shatter my life. The toast that changed everything. Alex raised his glass, his smile wide, his voice loud enough to silence the chatter in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, today we celebrate a fine young man, Daniel. He's strong, intelligent, determined, and if I may say, he carries himself with qualities that remind me of myself. The guests chuckled politely, though I felt a strange discomfort crawl up my spine. I glanced at Claire. She froze for a second but quickly forced a smile, sipping her champagne. Alex continued, this time locking eyes with me. You know, not every day do you get to see your reflection in someone so young and accomplished. So here's to Daniel, a young man who not only has a bright future but also, well, let's just say, the kind of resemblance that can't be ignored. Murmur rippled through the crowd. Some laughed awkwardly, unsure if it was a joke. Others whispered, glancing between Alex, Daniel, and me. My hand tightened around my glass. My chest felt heavy, and suddenly the room seemed smaller, suffocating. Was this man implying what I thought he was implying? Claire's face told me everything. She avoided my eyes, her hands trembling slightly as she placed her glass on the table. At that moment, my world cracked, the unraveling the rest of the night blurred. Guests tried to carry on, but the tension was thick, undeniable. I went through the motions, congratulating Daniel, smiling for pictures, but my mind was burning with Alex's words. Later that night, when the guests had left and Daniel was out celebrating with friends, I confronted Claire. What was that toast about? I demanded. She hesitated, tears already forming in her eyes. It was just a joke, she whispered. A joke? I barked. He practically announced to everyone that he might be Daniel's father. Is it true? Silence, the kind of silence that feels like a knife to the chest. Claire didn't deny it. She didn't shout. She didn't even attempt to comfort me. She just sat there, her head in her hands, and in that silence, I had my answer. The secret of Earth truth spilled out over the following days. Claire had been having an affair with Alex for nearly 2 decades. It started before Daniel was even born. I had been living a lie. Every family vacation, every birthday, every anniversary, all while my wife was hiding a secret that could tear us apart. I felt like a fool. The woman I trusted most had betrayed me in the deepest way possible. And worst of all, my son, the boy I thought was mine, may not even share my blood. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't. But the seed of doubt was planted and it consumed me. The testy quietly ordered a DNA test. I told Daniel it was for medical reasons, something routine. He trusted me, not suspecting the storm raging inside me. Weeks later, the results arrived. I remember sitting in my office, the envelope trembling in my hands. My heart raced as I unfolded the paper, and there it was. Probability of paternity. Oh, Daniel wasn't my biological son. I broke down. Decades of fatherhood, love, sacrifice stolen from me with a single line of text. The revenge, but grief quickly turned into something else. Resolve. Claire had destroyed my trust, my family, my identity. But she underestimated me. She thought I would collapse under the weight of her betrayal. She thought I would quietly disappear while she and Alex played house with my life's work. She was wrong. I called my lawyer. Claire didn't know that years ago I had placed all assets, the house, the savings, the business, under my name alone. She had access, yes, but no legal claim without me. And Alex? He was drowning in debt, something I learned quickly. After a little digging, I filed for divorce, presenting the affair and paternity results as evidence. The court sided with me. Claire was left with nothing but her guilt and Alex, who suddenly wasn't so eager to play father when he realized there was no financial gain. Daniel, though not my blood, chose to stay with me. "You're the only father I've ever known," he said. And that was enough. Claire and Alex became pariahs in our social circle. Her family turned against her, ashamed of the humiliation she had caused. The woman who once strutted with pride at family gatherings now walked with her head low, whispers following her everywhere. The last laugh months later, at another family gathering, this time a smaller one with just Daniel and close relatives, I raised my own glass. "To Daniel," I said, smiling at my son, "a man who doesn't need shed blood to be mine. To loyalty, to truth, and to the bond that betrayal could never destroy." And as I took that sip, I caught Claire standing in the corner, watching, broken. That was my last laugh.